there was all these kind of things flying about at the time, and I took it with a pinch of salt, you know. But a couple of years later, I was driving across Canada with my girlfriend, who's now my wife, and we hadn't met long, and she said, "Well, I'd like to hear your band." So we bought a copy of Number of the Beast. I actually went in and bought one, and we were playing it, and she said, "Oh, this is all right." And so then we stopped off at this little village. It was in the middle of nowhere in the middle of Canada, and it was very eerie, this village, and I remember there was scores of dogs in the street, and they weren't barking, they were just kind of looking at us. And we went into a shop, and we bought some stuff in the shop, and in the back of the shop was a fortune teller, spiritualist, and it was kind of a very weird vibe. And we got the bill for the stuff we bought in the shop, and it was $66.06. And that was very strange. We kind of didn't say anything, got in the car and drove the hell out of there, you know.
It was a Chicago Free Fest or something like that, and we were this festival. You know, the setup, the equipment was pretty naff, and it was like freezing cold. You know, so I thought I'd have a couple of brandies before we went on stage. You know, I mean, and a few of the guys. And as I said earlier, we'd never drink before we go on normally, but this is like a one-off thing. And we thought, right, let's go for it. So we were, you know, had a few drinks, drinking a few more throughout the gig. And the sound was actually pretty, like, horrendous. And so at the end of the gig, some of the monitors started to get, you know, booted off stage. You know, drums were getting trashed. So I thought, I'll have some. So I grabbed my guitar, started trashing it. And I actually, you know, threw it out in the audience, you know, like that was it, end of, you know, it's an old guitar, you know, trash, end of the show, great, you know. And I came off, and then, like, Tony Wiggins, to a manager, come up and said, "No, that guitar you threw out on stage, you know, off the stage." I went, "Yeah." He said, "Well, it hit someone on the head and, like, knocked him out." And in fact, it was a policeman, believe it or not, it was actually a policeman. In fact, it was Police Constable Murray. We actually shared the same surname. But so it knocked him out, so they'd come in backstage and stuff, and said, "Well, how is he?" and everything. And he said, "Well, he just, you know, hopefully he'll be coming to in the next few minutes." So, but actually he came around anyway, right? And he was very pleasant. I mean, he was a fan of the bands and stuff and everything. So we gave him, you know, some swag, you know, across his palm with some gold, and he was fine about it, because I thought, right, you know, is he gonna like arrest me or take me to court? You know, I thought, like, wielding a guitar with intent, or wielding an axe with intent, or something like that, you know. So, but we got actually he was quite pleasant about it, you know. But so, well, if you're going to throw something out in the audience, make sure it's in small pieces, you know.
I distinctly remember being in Switzerland, a place called Winterthur, and it was freezing cold and whatever. And anyway, so the bus that we were on, the coach, is broken down, and so we were pushing the bus, you know, and we were laughing and joking, saying, "Look, we've got a #1 album," and here we are pushing the bus, sort of thing. It appeared funny to us at the time.
I mean, the incident that I recall that was kind of ironic was when we were somewhere in Switzerland. We were in the middle of the tour on Number of the Beast, and the bus that the tour bus we were in, had a flat battery and had broken down. It sort of expired, and we all just had checked out of this little boarding house and gotten a telegram saying, "Your album has just gone to #1." And we went, "Wow, the album's #1!" And 5 minutes later, we were pushing this 30-seat coach up a hill, trying to jump-start it, going, "Oh, well, the album's at #1, great, right?" Like that. And I thought that was a moment I quite enjoyed. That was like a nice little sort of levelling pause in the whole thing, you know.
Most of the team that we brought in then, people like Dickie Bell and Dave Beasley and things, and actually Doug Hall on the sound. I mean, a lot of them are still there now. Dickie Bell, in fact, just retired. They say he's the first tour manager, production manager ever to retire, because most people either die on the road or give up early on.
We're down in Texas, and we had to return back. For it was a great honour. I mean, headlining Reading Festival in '82. We did it in 1980, a special guest to UFO. But to headline the festival, you know, 30,000 people was an awful lot then. And, you know, very proud to do it. Reading was the festival. I've been going there for years myself. A lot of the band had been there before. Yeah, it was a great event. So we brought the American tour
flew
And,
back,
we
did
did
Reading, then
T-shirts
flew
for
straight back
Reading.
out and picked up the
With
tours in Texas.
Eddie with an armadillo in Texas with a sign going, LA that so many miles and Dallas that many miles and Reading that many miles.
To actually headline it was just pretty nerve-wracking, really, I'd say, at that point, because, we were confident to a certain degree, but I think with festivals, we've done so many festivals over the years that, I suppose we're experienced enough to know what the problems, might be or whatever and all that, and they are definitely different animal to a normal gig. But at that time, to come back and headline a festival in the UK, which was obviously, a big thing for us because we'd sort of broken from the UK, we'd played so many club gigs and that was where we'd really started off well, and we just wanted to do so well that it was a bit nerve-wracking. But again, I think that nervous energy actually makes you, do really well.
It's a double-edged sword. You don't, you try not to get nervous and you want to enjoy it. It's like, I guess footballers playing in the cup final. It's like a big build-up. Obviously, it was a fantastic occasion, but some of the best gigs we've done have been out of the way places with no pressure and just a great audience. And but of course, you play Reading and the whole media's there. It's been recorded and televised, so it's a lot of pressure. But you can try to enjoy it.
Yeah, at the time we were quite sort of nervous about the whole thing, but I think it was a really good show.
Well, it was a headline gig, we'd been special guests before, but this was to headline Reading, and, headline Reading is like, you can't get much bigger than that. Well, to us, it was like a big, big gig.
For some reason, the manager, Samson, thought Bruce, which was a Monty Python thing at the time, and was quite funny. I thought it was quite naff. In fact, when Bruce first came in to join the band, I said, "What's your surname?" He said, "Dickinson." I said, "From now on, you're Bruce Dickinson." And I gave him £300 to buy a leather jacket, as you do.
He got nicknamed the Air Raid Siren after that tour, and he still uses that, because but the thing actually, it wasn't, he'll tell you as well. At the time, it wasn't a complimentary thing. It was this letter written into one of the magazines at the time.
There were a few dissenters, which is obviously fair enough, but one of them wrote a letter of complaint saying it was bloody horrible. It was like hearing all my favourite songs being played through a cement mixer with an air raid siren. And so Rod went, "Oh, bloody great! We'll call him the human air raid siren." So no sooner had I ended up kicking Bruce into touch than I became the bloody air raid siren,
It's a kind of, it's a kind of tradition that's always been with me. It haunted me throughout my career. All the different bands I've worked with over the years, I've kind of had a nickname. And I think Steve and the boys picked up on this. So I started to get nicknames, and that one, Farmer, was pretty basic. I used to live out, well, I still do, live out in the country there. And it was in winter, and I think I turned up one day with Wellington boots, one of those kind of farmer jackets, country-type jackets, and probably, I think I had some army fatigues on or something like that. I'm covered in crap, and they all said to me, "Oh, man, you look like a farmer." And it stuck.
His ties with Steve are about as deep and as serious as you can get. And his energy, he's got tremendous energy. Tremendous enthusiasm, very persuasive guy. And of course he makes everybody feel as if they're on a mission. And he was very shrewd. He went to America long before the band ever got there and took it upon himself to do something that managers didn't do in those days. They do it now, but he literally went out to every territory in America, pressed the flesh, put faces to names, took them out, got them all pissed, got them all thinking what a bloody good bloke old Rod was, so that when he came back 6 to 9 months later with Maiden, they all remembered him. What a great night we'd had, what a lovely fella, what can we do for you, Rod? Help me break my band.
I really don't think we would have done it, anywhere near as well as we have done, because Rod has basically protected us from a lot of the things that we want protecting from, which is like, all the sort of surrounding bullshit and the whole record company thing and all that. And we just do what we do, we write the songs, and we're able to do that because Rod bats everything away and keeps people away from us and just lets us do what we want to do musically, which I think is fantastic. I think that's what a manager should do. And I think it was a very, very important part, you know, of like building the thing up, and one of the reasons why it sort of did so well in the end, because he was so controlled with everything.
Yeah, I think you know, Rod's been, you know, the sixth member of the band. I mean his passion and the way he's you know, worked with this band from the beginning has been incredible. You know, I think without him we probably wouldn't be right here, you know, in this position.
Well, he was always really tight with the purse strings. I mean, being a Yorkshireman, maybe that's something to do with it, or he was used to make jokes about it and all that. But I mean, I really think that's what really helped us in a big way, was that he was so tight with the purse strings, because, you know, I suppose any bit of money coming in, we could have sort of gone a bit crazy with it or whatever, you know, and used it for the wrong things or whatever, or just use it on ourselves or whatever, you know. But he was really, you know, good with that sort of thing.
We lived, you know, hand to mouth that whole period, and but it's interesting that Number of the Beast, which is, you know, is one of the classic albums, one of the great albums, certainly pivotal in Maiden's career. Actually, we didn't get paid anything to do it. We got nothing at all. But we were there with the #1 album, and I think about that time, we're down the marquee, just, you know, just socialising, and Steve came up and says, you know, it's a bit embarrassing because I can't afford to buy a round. Can we have a rise? And here's a band who just had #1 album for 2 weeks in England on 60 quid a week, because we kept it.
One of the good things I always liked about Rod, where most managers, you'd go out and you'd get paralytic with them, and you'd be really embarrassed and you won't really remember what you did, and it'd be, oh no, or you wake up with someone and vaguely remember what you did, and you think, oh God, how awful. But, you know, you go down to the bus the next day, and where most managers would probably send you home or go berserk, Rod would be going, oh, bloody great, we had a great night last night, mate, come on, we're bloody going for it again tonight. And I do love him for that, because he really did help me appreciate my youth.
Rod's very canny, he's very shrewd, he's very sharp, he's very determined and ruthless in his own way, as you have to be, and that defines the perfect rock manager. But he was always totally devoted to Iron Maiden and would never do anything to undermine Steve's concept. What he would do is take Steve's concept and vision and give it flesh, give it form.